Alright, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how to send direct messages. This has been the most requested video so far, but I couldn't start off my series with this because there was a lot to go over up until this point, and yeah, I think it needed to just happen like this. But this is actually probably not going to be just one video. This might be a 2 or 3 part like little mini series on just sending direct messages. And that's because I guess there's not a lot that goes into it. There is, but the way to implement it, I don't want to just like give you the very basics. I want to show you something that you can put to work right away. So that's going to take a little more work than just showing you the code. So let's get into this. We're going to go back to our, this is the wrong ones. Oops. Alright, I was scanning my other project to see what I needed to show you. So let's go to the manager. Let this load up. Alright, we're back. It loaded up. Whenever I say we're back, I probably paused the video, so just so that doesn't weird you out or you're tripping out like, what is this dude talking about? That's why. Okay, let's create another region. Control KS, and we're going to do send direct messages. Okay, so theoretically this to implement everything that deals with sending direct messages, this would be like 2-hour video, but I'm not going to do that to you. So I'm going to try and do the basic stuff, or the stuff you want to know, and then kind of just go from there. So send direct messages, I guess just message, and then we're gonna do, what are we gonna do? String. We're gonna do user to send, and we'll do a string message to send. Okay, so what we want here is Vivox channel session, and we're gonna go send, oh my bad, it's the iLogin session because we're sending directly to a user. Okay, current, what did I call it? Login session? Okay, login session, then we're gonna go begin send directed message. Okay, so what they want is the account ID of the intended recipient. So I guess instead of having a string here, we should have an account ID. And actually, no, I'm gonna have the string to make life easy. And this is just only because this is a basic example. So first, let's do a var account ID equals new account ID, and then what we want is we're just gonna use, since we're using the same credentials right here, we're using the same credentials at the moment, or whatever your credentials are for the clients. Later on this will change, or if you know what you're doing, you can implement that now on your own game server. And I still haven't showed you the production ready code, so you gotta work with me, and you can still kind of implement it with what I've shown you, but we'll get there in time. Alright, so let's do Vivox issuer, then the user to send, and then Vivox domain, because that's where we're holding our stuff. And okay, so we'll pass in account ID, and then the message. Create a AR lambda expression, async IAsyncResult. And we're going to do the try Vivox login session and send directed message. Pass in that IAsyncResult. That's what this is, IAsyncResult. And I explained that in my earlier videos, so if that is confusing, I suggest watching those if you haven't. And I didn't explain it that good, so I also suggest reading some documentation. Alright, debug.log, e.message. So again, more of the same kind of process we've been doing this whole time, just different methods. So this is in the Vivox documentation, but let me show you how to. So you would think that this is all you need to do, right? Because that's all we had to do right here. Just begin send text, end send text, bam, it happens. And then same thing with the event message, and then all we do is on the message received, we just get that callback. So that's almost correct. And what I had to realize is in our login method, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy and paste this, and I'm not gonna change the name. I'm just gonna change the parameter, and I'm gonna go subscription mode, and we're gonna call it sub mode for subscription mode. Okay, and notice the error went away even though it's called the same name. It does have different parameters, different overloads. So down here in the begin login, after this the get login token, gonna add this little guy, and then we're gonna go subscription. We're gonna get that sub mode up top, and then you'll notice all these present subscriptions, block present subscriptions, and allowed present subscriptions. So present subscriptions is like the friend list. I think it'll explain it if I add another comma here and then go back one. Alright, it's a list of accounts for which this user wishes to monitor online status. So I haven't yet really figured out how to store these. I would store it here in the iReadOnly hash set, but it's an iReadOnly hash set, so I don't really know how to set that just yet. I only know how to read from it. So once I figure that out, I'll make a video. But the good thing to know is you don't need to know how to use that just yet to send a directed message, and that's what this video is about. So let's continue. So you can just pass null for all of these, but basically what this would do is like, okay, so we enter our subscription mode and whatever that is. So if you go up top right here just to see what our options are, okay, it doesn't give you the options just yet, but we'll see what happens in a little bit. Okay, but let's say I just wanted to load everyone that's in my friends list, and then load everyone that user has blocked, and then I would load everyone that the user has allowed. And now the thing is, when you add someone to the friends list, it also adds them to the allowed present subscriptions automatically. So they kind of go hand in hand. But if you remove a present subscription, that doesn't mean that it removes the allowed present subscription, because the present subscription is like the friends list, and the allowed present subscription is what lets you actually send a message. So this is for sending messages, but these subscriptions are for if I'm allowed to communicate with that user. So so you at the very least need the allowed present subscriptions to send a directed message. Okay, sorry about it. It's late. Alright. And so basically that's it. And then this subscription mode right here, if we just call it real quick, subscription mode, we have accept, block, and defer. So basically when I call this later, we're going to choose accept, and that automatically accepts all incoming subscription requests, but it also allows you to send direct messages to whoever player has the accept. When they logged in, whoever had it on accept, they can accept like strangers messages basically. Okay, so So we'll implement this login later when we're dealing with the UI. For now, let's go down here to the send directed messages. We need a on direct message received event, public void on direct message received. And to figure out what we need to pass in here, let's go create some more bind statements, because we need to bind ourselves to these at some point in order to get the callbacks. Bind directed message callbacks. I'm going to do bool bind, and we need the iLogin session this time, not the channel session. So login sesh. Alrighty, I'm gonna do if bind. Gonna go login sesh directed message results, directed messages, and then after item added. And this is how we'll know if someone has sent us a message. And if you hover over after item added, as an argument in our method, we're going to need a queue item added event args that holds an iDirected message, and the object, which is a sender, is going to send us an iRead-only queue iDirected text message. Okay, so that'll make sense right now. If you don't understand that, watch my previous videos, or do some tutorial research. Alright, object sender and queue item added event args. And mostly when you're dealing with messages, it's always going to be in a queue, because like, let's say a bunch of people send messages at the same time. It can't process them all at once. It needs to do it one by one. That way it can update all the events for whoever's listening. So we got the iDirected text message, and I'll just call it message or text message args. Args is for argument, and if we go back up here, this should work. So on directed message received, and we're good to go. So let's do the else. Make sure you got that else. Copy, and then put that minus sign to unsubscribe. And what we also need to do is, I think it's login sesh failed directed messages after item added. So let's say a message didn't go through, we need to know about it. And what are we looking for here? So again, queue item added event args. This time I failed directed text message, and I read only queue I failed directed text message as the sender. Okay, so I'm basically just gonna copy this method right here. I duplicated it with Control D. On direct message failed. This is all in the Vivox documentation, so if you like reading stuff better, feel free to check that out. Directed message, I failed directed text message. I'm trying to just give a little bit more of an overview for people that found that documentation confusing or hard to read. Okay, so what are we doing now? So let's put a var. Let's get our message sender. So message sender equals, we're gonna turn this into a iRead-only queue of iDirected text message. We don't want the result. iDirected text message, and then that's going to be our sender. We're casting it back to what it was, because this is what sent it. And let's get our so for this one, in the documentation, they use a while loop, and they do message sender dot count is greater than 0, and because it's a queue, so you can basically do debug.log debug.log, and then we're gonna take the text message. Actually, you can do message sender dot dequeue, and it'll to string, and then that should work. If not, I think you can do debug.log text message args, and then we can get the value, and then here you get all the options instead of just, well, I guess right here, if you click if you don't turn it into a string, you should be able to also get the same properties. You can get the message like that, and then you can also get the message like this. So we'll see which option is better in the near future. Let's do the same thing for this one. We'll do variable message sender, not variable var, equals iReadOnly queue, and I failed directed text message, and this is the sender. Now Vivox recommends saving this to a list, and that's actually not a bad idea. So what we can do in the Vivox credentials is just have like a public list of I failed directed messages, and then call it failed messages equals new list I failed directed text message. Okay, and then we can go back to our manager, and what the heck? Alright, so down here I think we can use that while loop again. While message sender dot count is great. Actually, no, we don't. I think it just sends it one at a time, because you're not going to be failing hella messages, you know. Alright, so what we can do is debug.log the text message args value.message. Oh, we don't have that option. We got the sender, the status code, and the request ID. We'll do sender. You can do all three if you want, just to kind of play with the values. And then after that, you can, since it's in Vivox credentials, Vivox, I declare that up here, Vivox credentials, Vivox, and then that failed messages.add, and we're gonna add the message. No, we'll just add the text message arguments.value, and then this will add it to the list. And you can also do that with direct messages. So if you want to keep like a history for your player, like every time they log in, they can see all the past messages, have like a history. You can also do that for the channel chat. So that way, like, let's say a couple people have been talking, sending messages back and forth, and someone new joins the channel, all the old messages will pop up so they can see it as well. So you got some options depending on how you want to use that. Like if you're making an MMO or something, you probably want to save the messages so you can keep it in the channel. And especially like when it comes to banning people, you may need that proof or something. Just be like, this is why we banned you, and then bam, there's a picture of your message or something. I don't know. Anyways, okay. Okay, so we got some errors. Why do we have errors? Okay, so we forgot to add the on direct message failed. Direct message failed. We add that. Now we can also add that to right here. Don't forget to add the minus. Okay, so let's go bind these in the join channel method when we're joining channels. I guess it doesn't really have to be in the channels. Let me see. Actually, we can bind that in the login session. And that's because it uses a login session. So you don't have to actually be connected in a channel to be able to start sending direct messages, which is pretty cool. But the user does have to be online. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you don't have to be in an active channel for that to work. I don't think I've actually tested that, so we're gonna find out. What did I call this? Bind directed messages. Why isn't it working? Come on. There it is. Alright, true. And then vivox.login session. Alrighty. And then we must do the unbinding. And I'm putting these in different methods for a reason. If you're watching this and you're like, why is he doing it like that? Because at different points in time you may want to unbind these separately. So if you have them all in one method, you gotta unbind everything, and you may not want to do that because it might cause errors or nulls on certain like listeners if you're still subscribed to them. Or you may not get your events because you unsubscribed for all of them at the same time. Okay, so this is a login. We should also add this. Control copy. Actually, I'm just gonna remove this from this method and add it to this other login with the subscription mode, because this is where this is the mode that we're using. So you can technically just have this all in one mode. Yeah, pretty sure that's okay. Pretty sure there's really no need for two, but I'm making two so you can experiment and see what works for you, and so you can kind of see the difference. That way we don't change all the code and you're like, oh no, I broke my previous application. Okay, and then whenever we log out, we want to also unbind it. So let's do disconnected. We'll unbind this bad boy. Alright, so now we're set. So now here's the thing. Okay, we need some UI. We need a UI method. But before we even do all that, let's check out this UI. So let's say I want to send a directed message to someone. I can technically, I guess, get the input and like type it. But what I would rather do, well, what I was doing in my other app is like if they log in, like if they log in on the same channel, then it pops up in a drop down their name, and then you can just click their name through the drop down and send the direct message. What would probably be better though is in the login method. Where we at? Okay, so right here. So since we're passing in null arguments for the allowed presence and the block presence and all that, what would be better is that same allowed presence list, or that same presence subscriptions. What you would do is take that list and then upload that into a drop down or some type of UI where the user can like look at all their friends and be like, oh, I want to talk to this person, or like, oh, is this person online? Let me send them a message. And then now with this failed directed messages also, another idea is so like let's say this message fails. That means you can't send it to the user because they're not logged in. So what you would want is basically your game server to either save that message on the server. That's what I would do, or like save it in a database somewhere, and then when the player that you're trying to send that message to logs on, then that message should still pop up. Because as of right now, Vivox doesn't have an implementation like that. You gotta set something up yourself. So that's also another idea what you can do with this message on the direct message failed part right here. Okay, so what was okay? So we need. I'm just gonna do the UI how I did it on my other app, even though it doesn't make sense. But that's only because I don't really know how to show you just yet, at least at the time of this video, how to get one of these allowed present subscriptions, and I don't know how to like do that just yet. So maybe I'll do some research and then make a video pretty soon, hopefully. But at least you'll be able to send direct messages the old way, just by like typing in their name or something. Or you can make a video on it if one of y'all figure it out. That would be awesome. Alright, so let's I'm just gonna pause the video real quick. So this is gonna be a little bit off topic because I'm gonna be doing some UI work, and I'm also gonna show you some cool little methods to populate this drop down. So I'll try to put a time lapse or timeline in the description, so you can skip over this part if you just want to see it in action. But basically, you have everything you need to send a direct message. You just got to make sure you're sending it to someone that's online, so you can like build your app, have 2 instances of it, and just make sure you're sending it to the right person. But let me do this real quick. So I'm gonna take all these options, click on this little blue side, these panels right here, and then just press the minus button. So we want no options in our drop down. I'm gonna go to the label, and I want size 30. No text just yet. And then I'm gonna make it big. Make sure you're not clicked on the label. Make sure you clicked on the drop down TMP or the normal drop down if that's what you're using. I'm gonna make this big, kind of. So right now I press T to get this little thing, this box. Now I press W. And where do we want this? Just because we have so much room here, I'm just gonna use our room. Nothing fancy. I'm going for functionality here. Okay, so now what we need to do is open up our lobby UI. I'm going to create a public one, and that's because I want to access this from different scripts. So TMP drop down, we're going to call it user logged in users, or TMP drop down logged in users. It's a long name, but it's spelled out, so I'll like remember what it's for. Okay, so we got that declared. So what I want to show you is how to I wish I would have known this early on as well. So I'm gonna create a new C# script, and I'm gonna call it extension methods. You could call it Vivox extensions or whatever you want to call it, but this isn't going to be necessarily just for Vivox methods or items, UIs. Open that up properly. Alright, here we go. So the cool thing about namespaces is I can put this namespace and have it in the Vivox Unity namespace, and then make sure this whole class is inside of the brackets for the namespace. And so now this class is, you got now up here I would have to put using Vivox Unity in order to get these methods to use it in another class. So I don't think I need to use it because this is Vivox Unity right here, already declared. Okay, so what we are gonna need though is using actually I'm gonna duplicate this, Control D, and use the UI. Then we're going to go using TMP Pro because I'm using the TMP version of the dropdown. Okay, so we're gonna delete these methods real quick, and so we're gonna make this class static, and then we're gonna get a public void get selected. We're gonna go this TMP drop down, and then just call it drop down, and that should be fine. Public void, why is it doing that? Oh, it's public static. Okay. So it's a static class, so all the methods got to be static. No mono behavior. We can take that off. Gonna copy that, and then just we're gonna put add value. Add value. Copy that, and then gonna say remove value. Remove value. Okay. Now for the add value, I'm gonna add a string. Call it value to add, and then on the bottom we'll do string value to remove. And for this top one, the get selected, I'm gonna get the drop down. Okay, I'm gonna get this drop down. Actually, I'm gonna create an int. I'm gonna call it index, and it's gonna equal the drop down value. And then I'm gonna create a string which is called result, and I'm just gonna have it equal nothing right now. And then we're gonna go if index is greater than or equal to 0, and then these and signs, and then drop down dot options dot count is, oh, and the index is less than the count. Okay. And then index is less than the drop downs options dot count. So that means we're not in the negatives, and we're not higher than all the values that are in the drop down. And what we're gonna do is instead of void, I'm gonna make this a string, and then I'm gonna say result equals drop down, put some brackets, put the index in there, and then get the text. Okay, I did that wrong, sorry. Get the options first, then the brackets, get the index of the options, get the text value, and that's it. And then I'm going to return result, and this will return the selected value. And then under here I'm going to return null. And then it's always safe to check for nulls anyways, so this, if it returns null, it'll be like, oh, nothing selected, or there's nothing is populating the drop down. Now for the add value is pretty easy. We're gonna go drop down dot options dot add. We're gonna go tmp pro drop down dot option data, put the parentheses and then the brackets, and then the text equals value to add. And for some reason it doesn't want to work, and that is because I forgot to add new. Okay, and then after that, go drop down dot refresh shown value, and then for the remove value, we're gonna do drop down dot, oh shit. Okay, so we gotta do using system.link, and then down here we'll go drop down dot find, or options find, and then in here we're doing some lambda expressions, and we're going to get the x dot equals x dot text. So this is basically saying this variable we're trying to find, it's like creating result up here, and then saying result, we're trying to find result dot text to see if it's equal to our value to remove. And I forgot to create a, or you can do var remove equals, and then the remove is a TMP drop down option data, so it's the same as like saying this TMP option TMP drop down option data remove equals the same thing, because like this data is, it holds a text, and then if you do that, it holds an image also. So the image would equal whatever you want, but that's I think the two values that option datas hold for the dropdown. So you could have like a little gamer tag or something, or a little picture next to it. And then all we're gonna do is just check if the dropdown options.contains remove. Then we're going to go dropdown.options.remove and that's it. Actually, we gotta refresh the value right here, so we'll do dropdown.refresh shown value. Okay, so this is extension method. So now if we go to our lobby UI, and then up here we're using Vivox Unity, and we're also using Vivox Unity. So let's create another method for our dropdown. So I'm going to say public void, and since we're doing well, I'm going to show you the way how to do it for like users in the same channel to send direct messages versus different users that are logged in. We'll do the basic method first. So on user logged in, and we're going to actually, let's go to the credentials or the manager, and when a participant is added, that's what I want. So on participant added, we got that lobby UI, so I'm just gonna say lobby UI dot drop down TMP logged in users dot add option or add value. So normally you'd have to add option and then add a new option data, but this add value, you see right here it says extension, and it has even this little arrow down. That means it's an extension method, and it's for so right here, and then there's the string to add, which is value to add. And that's basically what we did right here. We have the add value and then the value to add. And when you have this in a static method inside of a static class, you're allowed to extend the functionality of whatever is your first parameter. So I can do this dot string, if like let's do public static string test string. I'm gonna call it test string, and then this string, and then return this string, we'll call it s, and then we'll just say return s. But just so you can see it in action, so let me delete that real quick. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna create a new string temp, and then I'm gonna go temp dot, and then if you look for test, oh shit, what the heck, oh I named that temp. Okay, we'll call this str, and then str dot test. So now the test string is an extension method of string, test string, which is this method. So that's just something I want to show you real quick because it'll be helpful in this series, because I'm going to do it a couple more times, and it's something that I wish I knew when I first started coding, because it's just cool and it's kind of makes life easier. Okay, so we're going to get that lobby UI, drop down, add our value, and it's going to be the account name of the user account name. Copy that, paste that in here, and bam. So every time someone's added, it's going to add that to our drop down. You can check to see if it's yourself. So if user dot is self, so we're actually going to check to see if it's not ourselves. So the exclamation means it's not the user that is themselves, and bam. So is self is provided by Vivox. Yeah, but you can always like for some like channel session and login session, I tried to create my own as self using an extension method, because I needed that for certain situations to make life easy. Okay, so that should work. And so you don't even have to I don't even have to go to this drop down, and I don't need to add anything here because it's all being done through code. Now we're gonna want to go to our lobby UI, and then when the we're gonna do, instead of this, I'll just say send direct message. That's what this video is about. Got a little sidetracked, sorry. Okay, I'll show double parenthesis brackets. Okay, so I'm gonna do credentials dot send direct message, and we need a user to send. Oh, I forgot to. Where's our direct message at? Okay, so another little trick, if y'all didn't know, I can hover over this and press F12, and it'll take me to the method I'm trying to call. Okay, so we did do a new count ID. All right, awesome. Lobby. So I'm gonna do that drop down, and then I'm gonna say get selected, and that's the extension method that I just made right here. Because if not, then I would have to do this whole little thing inside of this send direct message method, and that's just like makes the code look unclean, and it's just, I just want it to be simple. So I'm just gonna say get selected. Oh, I need to add the message, and then the message will be in the message box, which is an input message, input send messages dot text. Okay. Alright, and that should work now. So let's go to the UI. Make sure the lobby UI has the drop down on it. Put that on there, and we should be good to go. Actually, the send direct message button, we wanna, right here, we wanna make sure we have get the lobby UI, and then add the send direct message. Send direct message. Alright. So for this bad boy, we're probably going to want to build it so we can send it to a player. I'm going to go build and run. Okay, so what I forgot to do is let's go to our Vivox manager. Right now we have debug log statements, but what we don't really want that. We want so I'm going to comment this out. And we're going to use this example right here. I'm going to go lobby UI. Actually, let's create a var temp equals instantiate. We're gonna lobby UI our text message prefab. If you're following what I'm doing, if not, it's all good. Your UI probably looks better than mine. And we want the container. Where's the container at? Alright, the container transform. Okay, and then the message is going to be, so temp.text equals our this right here. Actually, we're going to comment this out too, because once it dequeues, or actually, I'm going to put var message equals, I can't do that. Alright, it won't let me do that. I'll just do that. and you can just debug.log that if you want. Well, we're gonna go message, which is a string. Yeah, string message. Okay, that's it. All right, let's see if it works. Okay, so I realized with the lobby, we have to use the different login that I was explaining earlier, where we have the subscription mode right here. So instead of the normal login that we would normally use, we gotta use this one. So I'm gonna update my button. Actually, let me see. We got login users. So instead of that login, we got the subscription mode, and we're gonna go accept. So you have to do that to send the directed messages. So I'll save that, Control-Shift-S, back to Unity. Okay, so if you save your application and then build and run it, this should work. Alright, I'm gonna start up the editor first, so I can get my debug.log statements. I can see what's going on. In my other app, I was updating this this area. Instead of like user messages, this was like my debug.log console for this one over here, your build app. So we're logged in. Let's join channel 1. We are connected. Let's and right here you'll notice that there's nothing in here, even though I'm logged in. Nothing in here, and that's because we're checking for if we're not ourselves in the Vivox manager when we receive our on direct messages received. Is that where we're doing it? That's not where we're doing it. Okay, my bad. I lied. Okay, we're doing it somewhere. Where are we doing it? Oh, is it the extension method? No, okay. I'm all over the place here. All right. Let me see. Okay, it doesn't really matter right now. Let's make sure this works. Okay, that's connected. Alright. Let's connect as R. And then join channel 1. Alright, so we're still getting updates. Technically, I can leave this channel now, and it should still work, but now you'll see that this is updated. So W is W over here, my other guy, and then R right here is R. So our little drop down has updated when users add, but that only did that because we're on the same channel. Realistically, I shouldn't have to join a channel for this to be updated. This should be updated with the present subscriptions, which is like the friend list, and it should be able to tell, or you should, and Vivox should be able to tell who's online with their present status. Okay, so now that so we have proof that I've left the channel, so I should be able to send the message even though I'm not in the channel. Send direct message, and see, bam, hello is there, but you don't see it right here. And let's scroll a little bit, bam. So, and then we'll do the same thing. So we're still, R has left the channel. This is R, he's not in the channel. We'll say hello, or I'll say what's up, you know. Nah, shine. Alright, let's so this is R. So normally we'd probably have a couple users in here. We can choose which person we want to send a message to. There's probably a better way to do this instead of having a drop down, but I'm basic and I'm not good at UI, so it is what it is. What was I trying to say? What's up? Oh, so because I did that, I gotta re-click. Is it going? No, it's just not talking to R. Why aren't I talking to R? Why can I talk over here? So I can talk here. Okay, what about now? No, still doesn't want to talk to R. Alright, for some reason it doesn't want to work the other way around, but but we have proof that it works. I'm just curious why. I know these drop downs are a little funny sometimes. They register as null. I think I already messed it up because, let me see. That's interesting. Alright, let's see if I can still send something back. What's up? Yeah, it's showing up over here. I don't know what the problem is. How about let's have dude log back in or join channel again. Like, how about no? No, still doesn't want to send. So I think I didn't check for null, and now it's messing up. Okay, but we have, let's actually just restart this process. Okay, so it does work. I just paused the video and tested it, and my assumption was right. For the drop down, I should be checking for null, and I should, because I didn't check for null, it tried to send the message and it errored, and it didn't want to work after that. But if I don't send anything null, it will work. Okay. So we'll log in as W, enter channel 1, log in as D, and enter channel 1, join that. We're joined. I'm gonna say hello. Pops up. And so I'm not gonna mess. Sorry, I'm not gonna mess with the drop down. And it works. So I said hello, it popped up. He says what's up, it popped up. I didn't get the hello. So now if I try to send a group message, so it'll pop up hello on both. Direct message, it only pops up on his. And that's how direct message works. So I hope that was useful. I hope that made sense, and I hope y'all can get it working. If y'all have problems, let me know. And then I'll be expanding on this in another video or two. And then I'll probably come back to this later once I figure out the whole present subscriptions. But we still got some bunch of topics to cover, like muting people, and other topics. I forgot what they are. Text to speech and things like that. So I'm gonna kind of just see what kind of fits where, and I'm just gonna go with the flow basically. All right. Hope y'all enjoyed. Have a good one. Bye.